Hello participants, welcome in the new session of the MOOCs program on organizational behavior. In the last session we were talking about perception, personality and values, and we understood all these things in detail. And now we will gradually move to the next session, and that session is related to power, politics and influence. In this session we will understand about these concepts and how these concepts are being practiced among organizations and why there is need to understand that. And not only that, then what are various other factors affecting the dynamism of power, politics and influence among organizations. So, to start with, let us first try to understand the definition of word power. The dictionary meaning of word power is, it is ability to influence behavior of others for attainment of certain goals. So, power is something which is used or delegated or given someone to attain the organizational goals. Another meaning of power is, it is ability of a person to exert influence over others. It is exerting the influence. Influence means every individual has a unique behavior, a unique identity and personality, but the power helps to influence the behavior of others. And why there is need to influence the behavior of others? In the organizational working, there is need to work, and work can be taken by influencing the behavior of others. It can be well understood with the help of an example. There is one senior person who is busy in data analytics, and he has to take work from 5 team members, and all these 5 team members have been given different assignments, and working on these assignments needs a typical kind of behavior, needs typical set of activities. In general, without any order, without any command, without any instruction, people do not work. So, the power gives ability to issue orders, command and instructions, and these orders and instructions influences the behavior of others, and as a result of that, organizational work is accomplished. So, this is meaning of power. Now, let us try to understand some of the definition, so that we can have better understanding of this word power. And the very first definition given by Patrick J. and Montana and Bruce is, the ability to attain the unique powers is what enables leaders to influence subordinates and peers by controlling organizational resources. So, in this definition, power is ability of a person, and that ability empowers that person, enables that person to influence subordinates, and for what they are influenced? They are influenced by controlling the organizational resources, and among this, one of the resource is human resource also. So, whatever human resources are available with a particular team for working, then the leader or manager will influence, as I told you, the behavior of others by passing command, order, instructions to execute the work. So, this is first definition. Second definition is given by Kingsley Davis, and the definition is, power is the determination of the behavior of others following one's own end. So, it is determination of behavior of others. Determination means the person who will exercise the power, the person who will practice the power will determine and decide what other people will do, and that decision and determination is to run the work of organization in the direction of attainment of organizational goal. One more definition we can discuss, that is the definition given by Michael Foucault, and the definition is: power is a complex strategic situation in a given society social setting. So, this power is somewhat sociological in nature. Then why we are trying to understand the sociological aspect of power? Reason being, the organization is a social entity, number of people are working there. So, according to this definition, power is complex strategic situation, means there are different people working in the organization among different teams, among different departments and different units, and all these departments, teams and units have their own interest, but ultimately that interest needs to be given the direction in the attainment of organizational goal. So, the social entity of organization or the human beings present in the organization should be involved in a strategic situation where the whole of organization is being commanded by the leaders to attain the organizational goal. One more definition given by Green we can discuss, and the definition is: power is simply the content of capability to control others so that they will do what they want it to do. So, suppose a leader is given a project, and with this project one team is also given to the leader or the manager, and with this funds and other resources are provided. Now, it is up to the leader or manager how this project can be accomplished, and the accomplishment of project is completely dependent upon working of the team, and working of team is dependent on how manager or leader of the team is exercising or utilizing the power. So, according to this definition, power is simply the extent of the capability to control others. Why to control? Because if we will leave the team members free to act as they want to act, that may or may not be matching and mapping with the course of activity which would be helpful to attain the organizational goal or team's goal. So, to attain the team's goal, there is need that the capability of leader should be used to control others, so that they can attain the organizational goal. So, understanding all that, if we go through all these definitions, there are certain basic elements or components involved in these definitions, and among them very first is a potential that needs to be actualized to be effective. So, power helps a potential to be actualized. Second, power is dependent upon relationship. What kind of relationship is there in the organization? And the third one is, power is the assumption that B has some direction over his or her on P. So, there is one person who will exercise the power to modify, mold the behavior of others in such a way, so that the whole team including leader will be moving in the direction of attainment of the organizational goal. Now, the next we must understand in this sequence is what are different characteristics of power, and among them the very first characteristic is power is the capacity to change. The very first thing related to power is it will modify or change the behavior of others, and others means the employees, the people who are working in the team or organization. And yes, of course, power gives ability to the leader or manager to control the resources also. So, as I told you, if someone is working in a project with a team and resources, so project is the assignment, the team on which power will be exercised to modify their behavior in such a way, so that team will complete the project in the minimum energy, effort, resources and everything. Then the third thing is utilization of resources. So, the person who has been empowered or to whom power is given will have capability to use the resources. So, this is first characteristic. Second characteristic is power is an exchange in a relationship that occurs in transactions between empowered and influenced. When power is practiced, in that there are two basic components. The first one is the person who is empowered or who has capability to influence the behavior of others, and the second part in that is the team or team members whose behavior will be influenced. So, there will be one ruler and other one being ruled. So, these are the two component, and this is also one of the basic characteristic of power. The third characteristic of power is the power can control the behavior of others. Yes, power will control the behavior of others, and this can again be understood. Now, this program is going in progress, and I am delivering, and with me a team is working, and all these team members including me were influenced by the director of this particular department. The director communicated the instruction or information to me that I should come to the studio and I should record, and with me other team members were also given instructions to be present, and they will accomplish their activities accordingly. So, this is influencing. There is one person who is influencing the behavior of others, and there are certain people whose behavior is being influenced. So, this is third characteristic of power, and next one is in power there must be one ruler and also the people to rule, or in the exercise of power, as I told you previously, that there will be someone to influence the behavior of others, whereas there will be people, team members, department members whose behavior will be influenced. So, this is also one of the characteristic. The next characteristic of power is power relation is an indicator concept which involves relationship between the ruler and ruled. Yes, it is power relation, how people are related. That relationship is also established by the power, means who is senior, who are at horizontal level in the peer group, and who is junior, and then power will establish the relationship as well as it will decide who is to be influenced and who will influence. The next characteristic is power is bilateral. It is bilateral, it is never unilateral. There should be two parties in that, already we have discussed. Then the powerful people can get the orders of people to be followed. Yes, those who are empowered, they will ensure that whatever orders, command, instructions were given for the accomplishment of work that has been executed or not. Now, we have understood the meaning, definition and characteristic of power. Now, let us try to understand why we are talking about power in organizational behavior. What is purpose? The purpose is basically organizational behavior deals with the human behavior, and the behavior deals with how the organizational work will happen, and that happening of organizational work will depend upon how people in organization will influence the behavior of others by exercising the power. So, this is there is a direct relationship between exercise of power for effective working of organization and also for creating a typical kind of unique organizational behavior in the first or second session I explained that there is need of a particular type of behavior which will help the organization to attain its goals. So, power is the key instrument in that for developing or creating the requisite organizational behavior. Another significant element in the relationship of power and organizational behavior is organizational power is defined as ability of the organizational structure. Yes, if we try to understand the organizational structure is consist of number of factors. Number one, how the various positions of organization are being organized, being structured. Number one, what kind of communication is there among all these, how these different positions are related, and now how the power has been shared from the top level of organization to the bottom throughout the whole structure of organization, how power has been delegated, how power has been shared. Reason being, the basic utilization of power is to get the organizational work accomplished, and that work can be accomplished by using orders, instructions and commands, and these order, instructions and commands helps to attain the organizational goal. So, it is mandatory and it will influence the team members. Yes, of course, it will help to decide how the organizational resources should be utilized. Yes, power is not something which should be uniformly distributed. It should be distributed according to the leader's requirement for modifying the behavior of people. If at the bottom level of organization or junior level of the organization, how much quantum of power is delegated, that differs from the middle level and the top level. Basic origin, the head of organization is the basic origin of power, and then it is distributed, but it is not uniform or it is not equally distributed. It will depend upon the type, size and nature of work the leader or manager will accomplish. And yes, power is also used to motivate the behavior of people, to motivate the people to attain their goals. Now, during all this discussion, we were talking about certain concepts: power, authority and influence. If we will not understand the difference between all these three concepts, it is not possible to understand the power, and if we will not understand the power, it would not be easy to exercise it, and we will not understand how the delegated, shared or the power acquired should be utilized in such a way, so that the productivity, the effectiveness and efficiency of organization will go high. So, what is difference between power, authority and influence? Among them, we will very first discuss about the authority. Authority is right to influence other persons. Authority is the right given by the organization to the person, to the manager, to the leader to influence the behavior of others. Example, we can take example of head of any organization. Once head has attained the position, that position has legitimate value, that it will empower the person to influence the behavior of others. And already I told you how behavior is influenced. The behavior is influenced by passing command, instruction and orders, and people will follow that. So, this is authority. Authority is right given to someone to influence the behavior of others. Now, what is influence? Influence is process of affecting the thought, behavior, feelings and actions of others. Influence is, if we take example of an employee in an organization, and that employee is not being governed, managed by anyone. Once we use the term govern and management, means there should be someone having power to influence the behavior, so that the person will think, behave and feel accordingly. So, the influence is process of impacting, affecting the thoughts, behavior and feelings of others. And lastly, it is power. Power is process of influencing the behavior of others. So, in continuity, if someone is given authority, that authority will empower to influence or change the thoughts, behavior and actions and feelings of others, and that is process of exercising the power. Now, there could be the various sources of power. The power, how people can become powerful, what factors can make people powerful. Among them, the very first one is the reward. If someone has capability to reward, or someone has got certain resources, certain capabilities, certain materialistic attainments, and out of those materialistic attainment or capabilities, a person can give it, a person can award it to others, that will help the person to become powerful. The second factor which will help person to become powerful, or which will empower the person, is coercive. Coercive means force. If someone is powerful, someone is having a kind of capability to use force, then it is the coercive factor. And example is we can see the negative part is the terroristic kind of activities, or there are certain other activities where people use their physical or virtual powers, and as a result of that people obey them, their behavior is influenced. So, that is coercive. Then third one is legitimate. Legitimate means the power which is attached, which is inbuilt in a particular position. As I told you, as I gave you the example of a recording of this session, then director has got a legitimate power, and by having that legitimate power, director can instruct the team members to come on a specific time and to accomplish a specific assignment with the support of a person who is involved in the recording, and that is legitimate. Other example is Prime Minister's position has the legitimate power. Head of institutions position has legitimate power. If that person gets retired, after retirement, that person will not have that power, and that power was because of the position. The next one is the referent power and expert power. These are also the sources of power, and in the expert power, when someone has become expert, then that expertism will give authority to that person, and that authority will help him to influence the behavior of others. We can take example of coaches of different sports. The coaches have expertism, and other people want to become expert in the sports, or want to become good sports person in a particular field. So, they will recognize the expert power of coach, and they will follow the instruction of that coach, and because of these instructions and commands given by the coach, person will become a sports person after undergoing certain kind of training, activities and experiences. So, that is expert power. The next one is charismatic power, and the charismatic power is, it is basically extension of the referent power, and referent power is when someone has capability to refer something, and in the referent power, charismatic power, individual has certain attractive things, and that can be understood with the help of example for the celebrities. Celebrities specifically from media, from films, they have the charismatic. People got attracted, and because they got attracted, so whatever that person is doing, people will start doing the same. So, that is the charismatic power. So, besides that there are two more, that is connection power. Connection power is the how an individual can connect with others, or what is capability of connectivity of an individual, or in other words it is ability of a person to develop the network, social network, and as a result of that we can see the huge network of Prime Minister of India, and as a result of that he has the connection power. And the last one is political power. Political power is when a group elects someone as the leader, and by virtue of that, that person is exercising the power or using the power to influence the behavior of others. So, this is political power. Now, what are various factors which can affect the use of power? And among them, the very first one is extraordinary works. If someone is involved in an extraordinary work, that will certainly affect the use of power. If we compare two different people, then one is working extraordinarily and second one is doing normally, then the person who is working extraordinarily will have better use of power or better ability to practice the power. Then the visible activity, how individuals activity are visible to the people, that is also one of the factor which will affect the power. Then next is how someone can cultivate the right of others, and yes, of course, there is another factor, that is colliation. Colliation means how people can associate with other. These are also some of the factors which can affect the use of. And now, this is all about power, and here we will conclude this session. I hope that participant must have learned from it, and they must have taken entertainment out of it. So, I wish good luck for everyone, and here we are closing this session. We will meet in the next session with a new topic. Thank you.